Hey FLOSSTUBE, it's Leigh from Creatively on Sunday the 11th of September with FLOSSTUBE number 142. Welcome back to my channel. I'm happy to have you here. It just blows me away that I've done so many of these. Still enjoy doing them, and kind of feels like a bit of a reset every Sunday when I sort of get my bits and pieces together. Get the iron out most weeks, iron everything, put it in order, kind of update all my spreadsheet and book of days and all that sort of stuff, just to put a little bit of a full stop to the week, because, you know, for me, my week starts on Monday. So yeah, for those of you who don't know, which most of you will, I'm sure, this is a YouTube channel about cross-stitch, mostly cross-stitch, a little bit of life stuff, a little bit of what I've been up to, very occasional, the odd rant, but I try and keep my ranting off of YouTube. Yeah, shall we crack into what's been going on? Thanks for everyone reading my sore back, it's a lot better. I'm sitting down today. I'd say I'm at 95% there. I still just have a really localised, probably where the source of the problem is, bound to be a slight disc thing, but with my history anyway, but it's just real local, and when I sort of sit or lie a certain way, I know all the spasms are gone, touch wood, which is really good. So getting to do more, easing back into stuff. I hope to go to the pool this week for at least twice, to do either just some gentle laps, aqua jogging, just get moving. That's my goal anyway. I should be able to fit that in, hopefully, between the other things I've got to do, like work. I managed a whole 5 days at work last week and even got into the office 2 days, so that was quite the achievement. Got the lawns mowed on Wednesday because it was fine, and I basically decided I'd work from home on Wednesday, get my lawns mowed. They were very long because it had just, I think the only kind of couple of fine days where I could have mowed them, I was out. Anyway, for those who aren't in the know, the lawns mean a lot to me because I live in a relatively new subdivision. Built my house nearly 4 years ago, and took quite a while for me to save up enough money to get a lawn laid, and I paid quite a lot of $2 for my lawn. A lot of cross-stitching supplies went into that lawn. So, you know, I'm trying to look after it and not end up with a section filled with broadleaf weeds, given I paid a butt ton of money to get the lawn done. So we're still working on the gardens because they cost lots of money, but yeah, little bits at a time. So thanks everybody for reaching out last week to see how I was. Dad's doing okay. Not really have any news from Dad. He said he was a bit gloomy. Whenever the weather's crappy, he gets a bit gloomy, he gets frustrated because he can't do as much as he can't do near as much as he used to do, and he gets frustrated that he can't go out and get things done, or if it's a little bit fine, I don't know, something he could usually do in an afternoon might take him 4 or 5 afternoons, which is a bit frustrating when you've had lots of crappy weather. But hey, we're in spring now, and it'll stop raining eventually, surely. It's been a bit of a quiet week. I did have brunch with a friend yesterday on Saturday. I went into Wellington and we went to the Spruce Goose out by the airport, and had brunch with her, which was really nice for a proper catch up for a couple of hours. And then I popped into the scrapbooking shop on the way home, where they were doing a scrapbooking weekend, which I just couldn't fit into my life right now. But my friend was there, so I had a visit with her. This weekend coming, the next weekend, I'm going to that friend's daughter's sort of moving away function. She's got a job in Auckland, so she's moving in a few weeks up to Auckland, so I'm going along to her sort of farewell in town. And it's the same day I've got a clash. I've got Guild and a scrapbooking expo. Probably going to go to the paper crafting expo because it's once a year, and it got cancelled last year because of the COVID-y level, whatever we're in, and you know, guilds every month, and I stitch all the time anyway, so I'm probably going to go to the Scrapbooking Expo. So next Saturday is a bit of a write-off when it comes to getting shit done around the house. Other than that, book club on Wednesday, yeah, so trying to cram in all the hobbies this week. So just a reminder before I get into this week's stitching sort of stuff, if you haven't already, on my FLOSSTUBE number 140, I have my 1,000 subscriber giveaway there, which is still open until the 25th of September. So you still have a couple of weeks to get in on it if you want to, but you have to go watch that. The information is near the end of the video. You can skip forward a little bit, but you know, you have to be a subscriber, and there's some instructions on what you need to do. I've got some nice prizes in there, and I think it's worth putting your name in the hat anyway. So go have a look at that if you haven't already, and like and subscribe and all that malarkey. And thanks to a couple of people bought me a coffee last week, so hey, I really appreciate it. I did comment back, but I don't know how the coffee thing works, so I do the little thanks in the app, but you don't really see that. It's kind of hard to navigate that web app actually. And so thank you for buying me a coffee. I really do appreciate it, and if anyone wants to, links in the doobly-doo. Okay. What do we do this week? I did have one acquisition. I've got a terrible digital mock-up, which only tells you that it's going to be fantastic when it's stitched. Quite keen to stitch. I'm quite keen to catch this up quite soon because I fell in love with it and I just had to buy it straight away. It was on sale. And this is the mock-up. I'm going to hold it back because it's super, super pixely. And actually, if you were cheeky, you could kind of probably stitch from that mock-up. But it's a modern sampler, but I think pulled together from some sort of traditional motifs and stuff. It is another one from Tinsel Cross Stitch. Tinsel Cross Stitch is the designer on Etsy that I bought the Flowers Uprising from, and I see they've got a couple of other similar kind of designs. I'm like, oh, what have I done? Do I? But so we might buy them just to have in the stash. Firebird sampler from Tinsel Cross Stitch, that's the name of their, which you probably can't read my writing because it's terrible. Tinsel Cross Stitch, I don't know, had a number of designs on there that are not just similar to, but by known other designers. So I did message this designer because there was one where I opened it up and I had a look at the original and I'm like, wow, apart from the date, that's identical. So I did message to say, hey, I noticed a couple of your designs are very similar, if not identical, to other known designers. You know, do you have license to sell, reproduce and sell and stuff? And she did come back and did say yes, she does have permission to sell all of the designs on her site. And I went back with a couple of other comments and just said, look, I appreciate you coming back to me, just because, you know, I try and make responsible purchases and, you know, be ethical in my... And she said, yeah, she agrees as well. And this design, the Tinsel Cross Stitch, does also, you know, have a very open with an Instagram side and very open about here are my designs. So I think that if they were super dodgy and weren't legally allowed to sell them, they wouldn't be doing that. They wouldn't be like, hey, here are my designs, come buy them. Given that, you know, Instagram is much more visible than Etsy. So I'm confident that I made it okay. It just was interesting where you kind of, I think, you know, try and do due diligence. Okay, so this is the Firebird down here, and I totally will be kitting this up with my own colours. I think it has about, I don't print anything else apart from this dodgy JPEG. 12 or 14 colours, but it's totally one that I'm going to use over dyes from because, yeah, they're nice and bold colours. You need like 2 greens, a brown, a lavender, a pink, a red, a yellow. Like it's gonna be, yeah, it's gonna be cool, I reckon. Maybe it'll be a New Year's start or something, I don't know. And it was on sale for like less than lots. It was really cheap, really affordable. Stitching. That was my only acquisition. Again, going to Australia in a month. No, yes. This time, yeah, in a month I'm going to Australia, so I'm trying to save all my money for my holiday. So I had a new start last Sunday, which was start number 34 of 50, or my 50 at 50. Nessie Mitchell, 1929 by MommaLovesYouGB, which I'm calling this kind of my European sampler because I'm using UK and French products. So 40 count The Cat's Whiskers by Tabby Cat. Using Tom and Lily Creations floss in the colour Vérité, and which is Truth. That's what she looks like. So a modern sampler, memorial sampler essentially, that Michelle designed for a long past relative, and I'm gonna probably, I'm thinking about, I talked about how I personalise this, so all the name and everything's over one, which is going to be a little bit and I'm going to do this as the date, as a kind of a graduation sampler. Like I graduated 100 years ago in 1993, I got my BA, so I'm going to put my name BA, and then I'm going to put like grad 1993 University of Waikato. So basically I'm doubling the amount of 1/1, but there's heaps of room for that. So I thought, because as I said last week, AEIOU, I majored in literature, but I also did linguistics, and it was very much languagey, communication, education based. So originally I was going to be a school teacher, and then I kind of realised I hated kids, so I shouldn't say that. I realised that I didn't like children really, and just because I liked English didn't mean that I would be a good teacher, or that I wouldn't then grow resenting how these horrible children were destroying my love of the subject. I just don't love children as a global entity thing. So being given advice that, oh, you like English, you're good at English, you should be a teacher, maybe wasn't the best advice I ever got at school. So, but yeah, linguistics, education, literature. I even did te reo Māori at university, did a couple of papers. So, and if you know, the vowels in Māori are A, E, O, U, New Zealand, A, E, I, O, U. So kind of like the fact that this feels very like suits my degree. That was quite a lot. Should I show you what I got done on it? So because I need to chart out all that stuff, or I have to count quite a way, it's quite a gap between the A, E, I, O, U and the bottom border. I've got to chart that all out. I'll probably actually do that in my, what do I use for my cross-stitch, well, I say my cross-stitch designing. I've designed a couple of little things, one for a retreat and one for another purpose. What's it called? Oh, I don't know, PC stitch. I don't even know what I use. I need to chart it because it's quite long and I don't want to stuff it up. I want to get it centered. But I did the bottom border, which is really lovely. I think you can see that it's navy. The Tom and Lily stitches up really nice. I really love that navy. And I don't know what else to say other than it's really cool. So yeah, I do need to get that, decide what I'm going to put at the bottom and chart that in. I'm kind of even like, do I do, it's over one. I'm tempted to do it as backstitch. I don't know, I'll see. I've done 1/1 just on 40s a bit. I don't know, we'll see. We'll chart it both ways. Oh, I don't want to chart it both ways. Charting 1/1 in the software isn't as much fun as it could be. Backstitch is quicker to chart. But you can copy the bit, like if you do an E and you need 7 more E's, you can just copy those cells and then drop them. So it doesn't take that long, but so that was my new start, and I would have done more, but I really do want to, it's a good start, right? I just want to, I don't know what I'm trying to say. Oh, that's fine. I keep getting distracted by people walking past because I sit where I'm sitting. I basically can see the road. Like my house, I have a small section and my house anyway, and I can see people and their dogs and kids and stuff walking past, and I keep looking. So I apologise for that. Easily distracted. I think it's going to rain soon. Anyway, I then I decided I need to pick up something that had been neglected, and I kept telling Christine, my friend, stitchy friend down in Dunedin, that I was going to pick up Mary Rose Inspiration Quaker and stitch on her, and I kept not doing that. And it's because I don't like the fabric, but I like how it looks. I just do not like stitching on 40 count Mallow. Really glad I bought a whole freaking metre of that. I thought I like the look, but it's so tight. The weave is so tight because the strands are thicker, and it's got like flex in it because it's natural, so you can't see, whatever. So this is Mary Rose Inspiration Quaker by Vérité, which is on 40 count Mallow Zweigart, and using my own conversion based on Stitch Palettes Bed of Roses. That's the palette that I picked, and this is what I think it was a free chart from their website. That's the website down there, vérité.be, so Belgium. That's the mock-up. It doesn't go nicely into Pattern Keeper, so just beware of that. We managed to wrangle it in, but because the pages are not all on the same grid, like each section, because the grid's only like as wide as that section is, they don't line up, so Pattern Keeper doesn't know what to do with it, so you have to go in and manipulate it quite a bit. But we managed to wrangle it in. Mine doesn't quite line up, but I'm working with that. And there are some inconsistencies in some of the motifs where they look like they should be symmetrical, but they're not charted symmetrical, so I'm having a little bit of creative license with it, but I do that with all of my designs, because that's how I roll. So yeah, that's her. When I picked her up, I was at about 20, just over 20%, and I'm now just on a quarter done, so I think I'm about 34%, between 34 and 35. Unusually for me, I left this motif. I must have had to put it down to go to work or something. I usually don't put something away with a motif unfinished, so I might... It's quite obvious I haven't done it. I mean, Pattern Keeper helps, right? Because you mark off what you've done, so you're unlikely to miss it. But I really do quite like it. Like every now and then I think, oh, why did I pick these colours? But I do like it. It's different, and I like that my little people are going to become nice little brown people. So yeah, basically did this motif, finished this one, all of this. I'm telling you lies, ignore. Finished this motif. I'm on the wrong side. I finished this motif, did that one, started that one, got all of this done into here, including restitching that because I put it in the wrong place, and I think that's it. Yeah, I had to stitch most of this motif, to be fair. I'd only done a little bit of the border, so yeah, it's looking really good. So I'm glad to got now over a third, so I've made significant progress on that. Feel better. Put away, I don't know, pick it up again, but I'm really happy to have got kind of, I don't know, less, 20% wasn't enough. I had to get further than that. I think that Christine, she did a colour conversion as well, but it's still sticking with pinks. It's beautiful, and she's about 65%, I think. And then I thought, I haven't picked this up since I started it, which this was start number 27 of 50 back in mid-July. Rule of Life by Modern Folk Embroidery, which I was stitching on 40 count parchment from Country Stitch using the Leo and Roxy Yarn Co floss pack. This is the mock-up. Jacob's charts are amazing, and I picked this up and went a bit ham on it, got quite a bit done. So since you saw it last, I'd started this motif here, so I got all of that done. These motifs are new. I stitched on this border, I think I stitched from about here up, and on this border I had the heart in, so I stitched there up, and then I put the alphabet box in, and the only change I've made there is it was charted with the A as the caramel colour and the rest of it in black, and I just changed the L and the M with my initials, and changed them to caramel. Other than that, it is as called for, apart from a couple of, I'm going to say, charting quirks that I might have tweaked, but I couldn't tell you what they were now. Like up here, I think on this motif here, on the chart there are 5 little X's there, and up here on the chart there were only 4, that 5th one was missing, so I added it to make it symmetrical. Those are the sort of things I noticed. Last night I thought I should pick this up. I forgot to do it last week, which is the Jeannette Douglas Mini Bouquet sampler, free off of her website. And she's releasing one a month, so this month, what's that one? This is on 40 count Haystack by Country Stitch, using just a whole lot of stuff from Stash. And mine have ended up being a bit more tealy, so in the mock-up, the model, the flowers are quite blue. Mine are slightly more tealy. So this is where we got to. There's the piece so far. We've got 3 to go. And there she is there. So I think I only pulled one new colour out, which was the colour I stitched the pot in. That's the only new colour I pulled out from. Even though in the chart there were 2 or 3 new colours, but I had plenty in my little bag of tricks, and especially since I've got quite a few colours in there that I've got a bunch of thread gatherers, and they're very highly variegated, so sometimes when it calls for 2 colours, 2 shades of something, I can use that and just manipulate it and use the light colour for the light part and the dark for the dark part. So yeah, that's it. That's my stitching for the week. So quite a lot, given that I worked late in the office on Tuesday and Thursday and didn't get home till about 7:30, 8 p.m. By the time you have dinner and all that malarkey, it's like there's no stitching happening if I don't get home till then. But yeah, got quite a lot done because you worked from home the other 3 days, so I got some lunchtime stitching in, some evening stitching in, and last night, yeah, by the time I sat down, probably about 4 o'clock, other than, I stopped to cook dinner and stuff, but maybe 3 o'clock I sat down to do a little bit of stitching, then did dinner and the dishes and all that. But I did stitch till about 10:30, so I got a really big stitching day in yesterday, and yeah, that was quite good. The only other thing I've got to show you today is what my next start's going to be, and I changed my mind about 3 times on this. I'd written down that I do Mouton buttons by Natasha Maletsky, and I just didn't feel like stitching pink because it's quite pink, pinky red, and I just didn't feel like it. And then I thought I might do Frederica, because I really do want to get Frederica by Carriage House Aunt Plains done. I just don't want to do that border again yet. I do want to do it, so I don't want to do it yet. I do want to do her next year. I don't want to have them both in the same year, so I put her away. I thought about just sticking with samplers because it's Sampler September, and doing the little, what's it called? Something Quaker. Shoot. It's a little blue one. I can't remember what it is. And I'm like, oh, but I've got so many Quakers on at the moment. So I just went, so given that I had a look through my box of what was not yet allocated, because I do have about, well, there are 16 left for my 50 at 50, and I have about 12 of them allocated for specific dates. So I had a look at what was left, and you know, just counted like the Nora Corbett's, because I've done quite a few of them this year. Just counted a few. Anyway, I decided to pick up this one. So this is off an Etsy purchase. It's called Fractor 12, and it's from Stitching Spell. I don't even know if it's still available. Looks like it's a reproduction-y kind of old design recharted. I have no idea. But anyway, I really want to stitch these flowers, which, because I stitch up, are going to be last. That's motivating, right? And I love it. It does look more teal. I have pulled the called for DMC, so I might have to tweak a couple, because that teal, I really like that teal, and there isn't any teal in the called for. I think it's this 3052, so that might get swapped. And I might find with my colours that this green might be too light. So I might have to change that green and go, yeah, we'll see. I'm happy to change stuff. I just pulled the called for. And even this orangey colour here, like I like this mock-up is what I'm saying, and the called for is not quite it. So the called for, I'm happy with 919, one of my favourite oranges. I think, isn't that what I stitched last year's Modern Folk Embroidery roll of, what's it called, Fruits of Plenty with? So there's that, is the red, which I'm okay with, but the orange I think is 729, which is definitely not as orange as it is in the mock-up. So we might change that as well. It'll be fine. So should show you the fabric. So yeah, I'm going to stitch this. So this is start number 35 of 50, Fractor 12s from Stitching Spell at Etsy. I've got 40 count corn straw from Country Stitch. And so far the call for GMC. This is what corn straw looks like. So it is definitely brighter than what the chart. I mean, this is a mock-up as well. It's a digital mock-up, so could be anything. This is the proper side, the A side, the dyed side. I'm probably going to stitch it on the back side, the slightly more muted. And yeah, I need to decide whether the likes of some of my colours might be a bit light. So 3047 might be a little bit light. This green 734 might be a bit light, and that's probably okay. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll work on it. I don't mind stitching a few stitches and then pulling them out if I'm not happy with them. But I do love, generally I love the palette. I just want to pull out that teal. I want to pull out the teal a bit more. And probably, teal a bit more, that orange tweak. I'm probably going to change 4 colours. So it's close to Frederica's colour palette, but it's not Frederica, and the border is a very simple border, so it'll be a quicker border. So that's what I'm going to start this week, and that's it, I think. So yeah, I'm going to wrap this up. Thanks again for coming along. Don't forget, if you haven't already, subscribe, hit the like button, tell a friend, buy me a coffee, links in the doobly-doo, and also just, I appreciate all the lovely comments and Don't forget to go over to video FLOSSTUBE number 140 if you haven't already to enter in for my 1,000 subscriber giveaway. Find joy in your stitching. Hope you find some time to do something for yourself that makes you happy. And as always, don't let your needles rust. Ciao.